Good evening, friends. Time to go live on Facebook and LinkedIn and talk to you about what's going on. So Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is right now, we have a weekly commitment with you around how to make money listing donated real estate. However, before I do that presentation tonight, I just want to mention how excited we are that the live events are back, the live in-person events. I mean, these Zooms are live, but the in-person events, Jacksonville Real Estate Investor Association is having us back this Thursday at 5:45 p.m. Please feel free to look through the feed and find the flyer or send me a private message, and I'll make sure that you have the address, etc. Also, at the time of this recording, tomorrow, Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month, is always the live on Zoom Charitable Real Estate Masterclass. So if you'd like a free ticket to the masterclass, let me know before 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on the 18th of July, 2023. And I'll make sure you get that ticket. And we're also having a special edition of the Charitable Real Estate Masterclass live in a room. So Jax Ria is hosting us on Thursday night. That night, after we meet about 100 people there in that room, the next Saturday, so the 22nd of July, we're doing it live in downtown Jacksonville. So reach out to me if you have any questions about any of that. And I'm going to share the screen and go through our typical presentation for Monday at 7. Now, you don't have to be a real estate agent to take a lot away from this 30-minute overview that we're going to do right now. So if you have any interest in helping the community, the causes you love, or even putting money in your pocket, like making money from making a difference, please just stay with us. Let me go share the screen. Now, we call these legacy listings because when a piece of real estate is donated, the very first thing we need to do is sell it, to liquidate it, and give the money to the nonprofit world. And so in order to sell it, we list them with real estate agents at a full commission. And these listings leave legacy for the nonprofit world, for the donors themselves, and also for the realtors, hence legacy listings. Now, our book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, is the playbook. It is the handbook to how to do even cause marketing your business with a cause in mind, but in our case, any and all causes. So we want to encourage you to get the ebook for free. And if you'd like an autographed copy of the book, you can certainly feel free to reach out to me for that as well. Now, we start off our presentations by showing you what philanthropy really looks like. So sometimes when we talk about donated real estate, people have the misconception that it's property that people can't get rid of or want to unload. And we just want to be really clear, friends, it could be that. But what if it was something more like this, what Mackenzie Scott donated? 2 houses totaling $55 million. See, these are the types of folks that we gain access to when we're talking about asset abundance. So when we think to ourselves, gosh, I don't know anyone who would donate real estate. Well, I would challenge you on that. I'll bet that you do, and you'll learn how that works when you come to the master class. But also, I would also challenge you, if you don't know anybody that has any real estate to donate, maybe that's something that would enhance your career. Maybe it's something that would enhance your philanthropy or your ability to leave legacy. Now, we are the Rock Revolution, because we believe that they're all worthy. Every time I get on the phone or a Zoom with a nonprofit, they want to explain to me how worthy they are. And I have to tell them, I know you're worthy, or I wouldn't be on the phone with you. What we want to do is go let your donors know that they can donate real estate so that you can bring in 6 times the money to go do your cause. We believe that they're all worthy, and that is why we want to help them all get funded this way. Now, this is our analogy of what it looks like, the difference between doing fundraisers and getting funded. You see, the statistics around fundraising over on the right-hand side, I mean, the average bake sale brings in $600. Look, the average piece of real estate brings in 600,000. Now, I'm no mathematician, but it just seems like it's a better use of time to just add it. You know, if we just got to go do those bake sales, then let's do them, but let's make sure we add that flyer on that table that says we can accept gifts of real estate. Friends, there's a lot of ways to share with people how they can give a gift of real estate. You'll learn some of it today, but the master class is the next step. So a little bit about my story. So I was a real estate agent, and the reason I like to share that I was a real estate agent and in early sobriety and doing it as a single mother with a young child, just want you to know I've been there and I've done that. The reason that I was able to see gifts of real estate the day that I saw the presenter sharing this information, the reason I was able to see it as a unique sales proposition for real estate agents is because I am one. And I made the phone calls and I did the door knocking, and I was with Remax and Century 21 and Berkshire Hathaway and Keller Williams, and you name a brand, I've had a business card with it for different reasons at different times. And these slides are to show you a little bit of guerrilla marketing. See, Remax agents have access to that hot air balloon, but not all of them take advantage of it. I did twice. And then with Century 21, we created a TV show called The Real Estate Roadshow. Did HGTV House Hunters. You know, just want you to see that the reason that we're together here today on this video is because there's a lot of history in real estate and a lot of history with philanthropy that led me to see it a little bit differently and just make this bold statement that it is the biggest, baddest, boldest social responsibility campaign ever. Now, this car is Scoop. It was my convertible Mustang, and love that car. That car is what brought you and I together right this very red hot minute, because that car led to doing car shows and doing parades and doing fundraisers around car shows and reaching out to a local nonprofit in my marketplace and partnering with them to give them the money from the car shows. And it was through that whole process of getting flyers and 7 years in a row of doing car shows and handing out flyers and bringing 50 and then 100 cars to the car show and partnering with all the businesses. See, I got really good at noticing that even when people weren't really interested in real estate or Remax or Century 21 or whoever, they sure did love that we were doing something to rescue those forces or to help the veterans or the children with cancer. So cause marketing our business with causes in mind, brings them attention and funding, brings us awareness and prospects and business. That's how it works. And so I became known as a cause marketing expert. In this image, I was helping a president of a board of realtors in New England put together Realtors for Recovery. We did a diaper drive, gathered up 8,000 diapers for women coming off opioids. This was my first appearance at Jack's RIA. When I was there, we did a coat drive, and I was teaching them about cause marketing 5 years ago. And this was my Botox doctor. She heard me talking about it on the phone enough to where she wanted to do a cause marketing campaign. We did them with Habitat for Humanity. This was Realtors for Recovering. It was a beautiful speaking engagement we did in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We gathered up coats and hats and gloves and socks. It's quite cold in Boston. We helped animal rescue leagues, and we did poker runs, and we did things for veterans. And the moral of this story is, if there is a fundraiser that you've thought of doing or that you've done, or raffle tickets you've sold, or tables you've set up, etc., believe me, God bless, I've been there too, carrying buckets of cash from one fundraiser to the next, helping out those nonprofits. And in real estate, with all that door knocking and networking and competing for commission and all that stuff, see, that's why with that history, I was able to see charitable gifting of real estate for what it really is. Now, this is just a couple of months ago, a $15 million donation, a piece of land right next to this university, was donated. Now, they absorbed this piece of land to expand their campus, but what we want you to know is nonprofits you love can benefit from real estate anywhere in the country of any size, and they do not need to take title. So when we learned about charitable real estate, I thought, this is the best thing for realtors ever. What a great, unique sales proposition. So over the last 3.5 years or so, the Real Agents of Change have been created, the Certified Charitable Real Estate Champion platform. These signs are around the country. We have a 5-foot image on the side of the RV that I'm traveling in around the country. We have the Legacy Listing Month of April, which is our public awareness campaign. And so this is what it looks like to take that cause marketing from one fundraiser and one nonprofit to expanding to letting everyone know, hey, $600 for a bake sale is sweet, but what about $600,000 for one piece of real estate? So we were featured in Yahoo Finance right around the time that we got on the road with the rig, and the book launch brought us a lot of activity, been featured in news a couple of times since then. This is actually a nonprofit that I worked with in Sarasota, explaining to them how charitable gifting of real estate works. And the founder of that organization donated his own piece of real estate because of that conversation. So this is happening all around us. It's just a matter of us letting people know how it benefits them, whether they're the donor or the nonprofit or the realtor or the financial advisor or whomever it is. A lot of fun little logos there of places I've worked or been featured on. So here's the $600,000 question. What would your cause or your community or your county, what would they do with $600,000? Now, if we were in a room together with 50 or 100 of us, we'd stop and we'd have this conversation for 15 minutes, because it's really important that we understand the reason that we ask that specific number is because that is the average equity from one piece of real estate. It's just the facts. Been around for 100 years, and that's the average. Now, these are numbers of the amounts of nonprofits in each of these states. I mean, Minnesota, Missouri, 19,000, Maryland, New York, 178,000, California has over 300,000, Texas over 200,000, Florida over 160,000. I mean, the fact of the matter is, friends, there are nonprofits all over this country, 1.5 million, that are not asking for real estate, that are turning it down when it's offered. And we have a solution, and that is why we are here today. So let's take a look at one state. And these numbers are the same type of thing, no matter where you are in the country. We're just going to use Florida because that's where we're at right now. Florida is where we have the first 3-hour CE course for real estate agents. So we're planting our flag in Florida for a bit. But let's look at this. So nationwide, there's 499 nonprofits per county. In Florida, actually, that 160,000 statewide has gone to 168,000 since these slides were made a few months ago. So just goes to show more and more nonprofits need our help. So if there's an average of 2,400 per county in your county, that's an average of 7,200 nonprofits in a tri-county area, which is what usually a real estate agent works, is about a tri-county area. Now, what if 10% of them were to get a gift of real estate? That would be over 700 gifts of real estate. Maybe that's a little too pie in the sky. What if 3% of them, a little over 200, were to get a gift of real estate in the next 12 months? Well, maybe that even seems a bit extreme. Let's go with 1%. What if 1 out of 100 nonprofits in your marketplace, no matter where you are, but here in Florida specifically, let's say 72. What if 72 nonprofits in the next 12 months were to get a piece of real estate, especially because you brought it to the table? Well, there's $43 million coming into that community, $43 million. Let me tell you something. If you don't think that's going to build your business and help you leave legacy, we are not on the same planet. But let's also look at how it specifically helps to make you money. Now, $43 million and times the 5% commission, that's over $2 million in commission. But keep in mind, that $600,000 is only the equity that is coming from that property. That's not even the list price. What if the list price for something like this $7.5 million property that was just on the market last year? See, these are what we call cash conservative, asset abundant. Cash conservative, asset rich, asset wealthy, asset abundant. These folks, whether they have one property or 100 or 1,000, they've got more asset than they do cash, and they want to leave legacy and get the tax benefit. So let's talk a little bit about where this whole charitable real estate thing came from. 1917, US said this is the tax deduction. When you give to a 501c3, you get tax breaks that you wouldn't normally get. $9 billion annually. Yep, that's with a B, not M for million, but B for billion. Billion a year is donated to nonprofits this way. But see, it's a really small handful of people who have kept it very exclusive all this time. And what we're saying is we believe we all should be able to benefit from this. $600,000 on average per donation. Now, when you look at how nonprofits currently fundraise, they have their hand out for cash. And we are selling our friends raffle tickets. And we're asking people to go to our GoFundMe account or go to the website and click on donate now. Friends, that's all cash and credit cards and all that. We have less than 3% of our wealth in this nation available via cash. 43% of our wealth is in real estate. Now, if you sit with that for a minute, you can see the opportunity. Each one of these lines gives us a different reason to realize what an opportunity this is for the nonprofits we love, for the property owners we love, and for our own businesses. Because after all, real estate is hot. Fundraising is not. And it doesn't matter what market, what city, what state you're in. It is what it is. 43% wealth in real estate, that makes it pretty hot. So you're probably asking yourself, well, if all this is true, then why have I never heard of it? Been around for 100 years, 9 billion a year. How come I've never heard of it? Why aren't realtors being taught about it? Well, that's a great question. You might want to ask your own board of realtors why you're not being taught about it. And we're happy to help with that, especially if you're in Florida, because you can also get CE credit. Why have the nonprofits been struggling all this time if there's so much money available through gifts of real estate? Well, to answer these questions, let's show you the 3 ways that a donor can give a piece of real estate and why nonprofits are saying no. See, the first way, let's just say we're here in Florida, and let's just say we have a church here in Florida, and they have a donor that sits right in the pew with them every Sunday during season, but then they go back up to New York State and they have their house up in New York State. Let's say that that donor says, you know, I've got $1 million condo in New York. It's got a $200,000 mortgage and I want $200,000 cash. I think I'm going to sell my property and give the proceeds to my church. Awesome. That's the way people have been doing it for years. Here's the problem. When the donor sells the property first and then gives a check to the nonprofit world. The problem is the government gets the most this way. No matter what tax bracket they're in, no matter what tax basis, etc. Even if $1 goes to the government that could have gone to the nonprofit or back in the donor's pocket, wouldn't we agree that's probably not the best way to do it? See, the donor receives the least amount of tax advantages. The nonprofit receives the least amount of donation. And ultimately, this is just the old-fashioned way people do it when they don't know any better. Friends, this is the worst way. It just is. And when people say, well, Cammie, why don't we just sell it, pay the taxes, and cut a check? Well, you can, But it's kind of like saying, why don't I call a taxi cab? Why don't I go down to Blockbuster and rent a movie? Why don't I go sit out in the outhouse? You know, time marches on, things get better. We improve with time, right? Now, here's another example of another donation of real estate. We love to share all these examples to show social proof that these are happening all around us. Now, this second way looks something like this. This church in Florida, let's say that donor goes directly to that church, says, you know what, I want to give the property directly to you. And let's say that nonprofit tries to take this on. Well, this is the hardest way because remember, this property has a $200,000 mortgage. Well, we all know that property can't exchange hands if there's a lien on it. So that's got to be paid off before the title can exchange hands, which is what gives the donor their tax benefit. We go into detail on this in the master class. Don't worry, it's really quite simple. Now, in our example, the donor also wants $200,000 cash. So right there, that church has got to come up with $400,000 to clear the title before they take title to give the donor the tax benefit that they're looking for. And now that church owns a condo in New York, and they are going to have to be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep and taxes and HOA fees, et cetera, et cetera. And what if that donor decides at the very last minute, hey, you know what? I think I want to give half of it to the church and half of it to the veterans. Well, now the church is doing all that work and they're expected to split the proceeds. See, they just don't have the time or talent, nor do they have the treasure to take on something like this. And here's what we know to be a fact. 99.9% of nonprofits won't do it. Friends, this answers your question. Why have you never heard of this? Because if 99.9% of nonprofits not only don't ask for real estate, but turn it down when it's offered, well, what would be the point of teaching realtors how it works if they're going to say no anyway? See, this particular way is the hardest way. And it does happen, and we'll actually show you some nonprofits that do take gifts of real estate. But man, is it complicated and risky. And that is why the Real Agents of Change was born and taking legacy listings became a no-brainer. Now, the donors are a big yes for donated real estate. Now, the ones who want to, the ones who are educated about it, the ones who have become informed, the ones that know it is an option for them are a yes. We don't sell this, we don't convince, we educate and inform. So 80% of them are a yes because they love animals. They love the veterans. They want to help the environment. They do it for the altruistic reasons. And 20% of them do it because it's good for their estate planning. It's good tax relief. And when there's a side-by-side comparison, it makes good business sense for them to do this. And here's what the property owners deserve to know about this. Friends, this can be real estate from anywhere. Think of our example here. We've got a church in Florida, and the donation of real estate is a condo in New York. It can be from anywhere, any type. It could be a commercial. It could be a warehouse or a restaurant or another church. It could be any type of property. And it can go to any nonprofit. So in our example, we've got a nonprofit in Florida and we've got a property in New York. But it could be a nonprofit in Washington State and a property in Texas. It just doesn't matter. Now, these are some of the nonprofits, as I mentioned, we would show you that do take real estate. And you might be wondering, why would we be showing these? Well, we want to explain to you the difference here because, see, Cars for Kids doesn't just take cars, they take real estate now. And they are a worthy cause. They're all worthy causes. And if your donor, if you're a nonprofit, you're watching this right now, your donors are on other donor lists. And if they are looking for tax deductions, they could Google and they could find Cars for Kids and they could get the tax deduction they're looking for. But here's the problem. Now your nonprofit's not getting funded. And if you're a real estate agent, you didn't get the listing. You didn't get the referral fee. See, friends, there are nonprofits that are wising up and that are creating their own charitable real estate divisions, departments. And we are suggesting that your nonprofit can have one too, with no out-of-pocket expense to handle these transactions. Now, nonprofits say no to these gifts 99% of the time because they're so complicated. They are super risky. They have gift acceptance policies in place that absolutely say no way, no how, not doing it. And they don't have the capital to pay off those mortgages and to take on the holding costs of the real estate. So at long last, let us show you the win-win-win. The way that is a benefit to everyone included in the transaction. So for example, the donors are a win because they pay no capital gains tax on that which they donate. They get major tax deduction off of the adjusted gross income of their taxes at that year and up to 6 years out. They give smarter. They can leverage their wealth bucket versus their cash pocket. And ultimately, 80% of them do it because it's the right thing to do. They actually are cash conservative and asset abundant. Now, it's a win-win for the nonprofits because they can grow their endowments by 5 times that of a nonprofit that only accepts cash. They can get 3 to 7 times more from the donors they already have on their donor list. You know, another way to say it is no new donors are needed. What if your church, your homeless shelter, your veteran group, what if those groups could? What if you were the one that brought this to their attention? Do you think that you'd do more business from that? Do you think you'd make more friends, more resources and relationships that would lead to more revenue if you could bring this to your community? Now, what about the win-win-win for the realtors? Well, sure, you earn a full commission to list the legacy listing. It's guaranteed. And we'll share with you how that works at the masterclass. You can attract 87% of your marketplace when you are the charitable real estate specialist in your marketplace that's bringing all this good news to all the people, not just the ones who donate real estate. And you can make money making a difference. You don't have to pick 1 or 2 or 3 nonprofits. You don't have to divvy up your time amongst volunteering friends. You can actually make a really nice living off of helping people make a difference. So here's the third way, the win-win-win way. See, we've put together a bevy of specialists. So we're going to take our example, our generous donor in New York, $200,000 mortgage, $200,000 cash that they want back in their pocket. Here's why this is risk-free. We have a specialized nonprofit that takes title, that makes it super easy. That is all they do. They do it for Fidelity Charitables, Girl Scouts, Habitat for Humanity. They've been doing it for a long time. They can do it for your nonprofit. It is risk-free. There is no money out of pocket to handle the transaction. It all comes off the back end, and it's a tiny, tiny pennies on the dollar. Capital is available to enhance the property, meaning if it needs to be fixed up, the property doesn't have to be perfect like some of those that we've shown you here today. If it does need a roof or a parking lot, or if it needs to have an anchor tenant put in, etc., they can do all that. The property doesn't need to be free and clear. Notice that in this example, there's a $200,000 mortgage, and the donor does not need to donate the full value. Notice in our example, they kept $200,000 in cash, meaning they didn't donate the full value of the property. Donor receives the full array of tax benefits immediately. So if it was Habitat for Humanity or the church or any other nonprofit, it might drag out for months and months and months at a time, figuring out this donation of real estate. But our specialists do this for a living. Within 30 days, the donor can be basically bought out of the property and have their tax benefit. So in this scenario, the donor gets the maximum tax benefits, the nonprofit gets the maximum amount of money from the donation, the government gets the least amount of money from the donation. All 100% of the 1.5 million nonprofits are eligible. This is the win-win-win. There is no way to pick this apart and make it detrimental for anyone. This is perfect for the people who need it. And for those who don't need it, that's okay. It's still a great way for us to create beautiful relationships in the community. So this is an example of a couple who gave a huge amount of portfolio. Can you imagine the commission, the referral fees? And if for some reason that makes you feel icky, then donate your referral fees too. This is usually something for those realtors who are already giving 10% of their commission as a donation to the nonprofit world. What we're saying is, you know what, put your money back in your pocket, put your own kids in college, take care of your own retirement. Because when you're bringing millions of dollars like this to the nonprofit world, they don't need your 10% of commission. So the fact is, you can be the go-to charitable real estate specialist for all nonprofits in your marketplace, all 8,000 of them. In Tampa, there's 11,000. In Orlando, there's 12,000. There are thousands of nonprofits that need to know about this, and you can be the one that brings it to them. What about all those high net worth clients that are cash conservative and asset abundant? If you're a luxury agent, you already have them in your database. If you've been in business for more than 10 years, you already know them for sure. If you want to know them, this is a great way to do it. And what about all those generous multiple property owners? You can be the go-to for all of them in your market. You can be a community leader that's seen as socially responsible. Man, does that pull a lot of weight these days. So much weight that it attracts 87% of the consumers that will choose you over your competition. Imagine having a piece of paper in your listing packet, whether it's paper or digital, that shows that you are a certified charitable real estate specialist. See, that's something your competition doesn't even know exists. Now, make a real difference within your community. You can get in and meet all those great people at the nonprofit. You can be the industry expert for the financial advisors and the CPAs and the title companies. Friends, these people deserve to know about this. And the staff and the volunteer. What about all those board members of all those nonprofits? Each nonprofit represents 3, 5, 8, 10 board members that have multiple properties that want to know about this. They're going to want to work with you. Why would they work with anybody else? You can be the only realtor that is helping property owners give smarter, facilitate donations of over $600,000, and helping your communities leverage our industry for the real change that we all know it needs. Donors don't give money or real estate, they give both. You know, here's another example of a donation of real estate worth $5 million. They're all over the country, been happening for 100 years. So just be the solution that your company, your career, your cause, your community so desperately need. Here's another example, $1.7 million property up in Rhode Island, donated a couple years ago. Here's our last case study, and then we're going to bring it to a close. Berkeley Humane Society got a donation of land. And this land was donated in December, and the guy needed a tax benefit that year, and he got it because he's working with professional third party who does this for a living. This is what they do. When that property sold 4 months later, there was a check for $400,000 to Berkeley Humane Society. They said, we've been around 50 years. Didn't know that was even possible. Can we do more of that? Yes, you can. They picked up the phone. In their phone calls and emails, they found a second donation very quickly. Both of these closed within a 6-month period of each other. They got another $600,000. Friends, this is exactly how it works. One nonprofit, 2 donations in a 6-month period, over $1 million in their pocket. It is what it is. The proof is in the pudding. It is happening all around us. The question is it happening for you and your nonprofits? Because we certainly want to help you make it happen. So what we are suggesting is you become a certified charitable real estate specialist. Now, tomorrow is the masterclass. The masterclass is one small part of being a specialist. The masterclass is live monthly on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, 11 a.m. Eastern. You when you become a specialist, you can bring 2 VIP guests with you per month. That title company, that minister at church, that fundraising professional, that business owner that you know. Bring people with you to learn how this works. When you get certified, you're certified for 12 months. You'll take an exam and you'll get certified. You get featured on our website when you are certified. You are part of our Facebook group and you get some other informational packets. So you'll get the recording. So if you can't come to the master class on the third Tuesday of the month, we get that. We've got it recorded. We've got a workbook. We've got the exam, the licensing and designation agreement, branding guidelines, resource links. All of that is included in your getting certified. This is what our national database looks like. And the specialist is $400. That's simple. We keep it really simple around here. So you will get unlimited email support with questions about how all of this works when you become a specialist. And once again, tomorrow is the master class, but you can become a specialist and get the recorded version and watch it 24/7. We update the master class recording every couple of months because there's always new information coming out. So my name is Cammie C.E. Baker. I'm the author of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. I'm the creator of the only 3-hour CE class for real estate agents in this country, which happens to be in Florida, around charitable gifting of real estate. I look forward to seeing you at a master class, at a 101 overview, at a real estate investor group, a nonprofit group, a real estate company near you, as we tour the country sharing how to leverage real estate for real change. Bye-bye, everybody.
So smooth.